Ladies and gentlemen, we are
Ladies
back.
and gentlemen.
Ladies, gentlemen, gales, we are back with another Dude Actually podcast with a very special guest. We got the one and only Julien Leisure.
Hello.
Hello,
What's up,
dude.
dude?
Julian is a local comic, amongst other things. We met him at Quick Draw Comedy here in Omaha. He's been fantastic. He's offered a lot of good insight, and he's seen a lot of our journey just in the comedy scene. And he's a really good dude. So we're gonna bull for a little bit, and we're gonna let the tide take us.
The tide can take us.
Julian,
Yeah.
Oh, and you sell. What you got?
Did
What's
you
your
bring
side?
any?
I'm sure I have some in my car, like one. I sell candles, and crack.
Okay, yeah. And I was asking him to bring 3 different samples of crack today so we could, kind of rep his business. No, I was actually going to buy one from you. A candle. We're talking about candles, not crack. Dude, I've been needing candles for real.
Honestly,
And
my girlfriend
I wanted to
wants to buy
promote
one,
the biz, and I also wanted to buy one from you. So
Oh, hell yeah.
it's whatever. I'll go fuck myself.
That's the only reason I do podcasts.
Yeah.
To promote my business. I don't even
Candles.
care.
To
about
promote
it.
my candles and not bring them. To promote them and maybe have one in the car.
That literally happened to the last podcast I did. I was like, I was going to bring them, but then I didn't.
You bring like your nice little like box that you carry them in and stuff. It's just fucking
I'm the
empty.
worst businessman in the world.
Oh, dude, Old English, man. Thank you for bringing them.
That's funny.
Somebody said that they thought that I just like melted down Yankee candles and reused them.
Resealed a Yankee candle that expired.
Like
That's crazy.
Dracar Noir and wet wax, stir it
No.
up.
I use like beeswax, which is like it like purifies the air when it burns, and so
Okay.
like and it like lasts longer, and it's just better and non-toxic.
I didn't
compared to,
actually
like,
know that
other
about
candles.
beeswax. Dude,
Simple.
Oh, is that a...
This is one of Leisure's candles.
Oh,
yeah.
dude,
What is it
let
called?
me-
What's the company called that you have?
The Leisure Cafe.
Leisure Cafe.
Leisure Cafe.
Why cafe?
Oh, bro.
Oh,
that's some...
I don't know. It just kind of
It sounds good.
it's like French. It's like
I like that.
Yeah, if you've ever been to like a brunch place and they call it a bistro, it's like, I don't know, it just makes it sound like
That's true.
good.
Well, I thought like
Yeah.
with the cafe, he just like put boba in the coffee or in the
well,
candles too.
No, initially it was like my podcast, The Leisure Cafe. It was just kind of like, I don't know, a cool thing, and then I was like making candles for merch for comedy just to sell.
Nice.
And then eventually I was like, I might as well just like make this an LLC. You know?
Wait, you have an LLC?
I do have an LLC.
Holy
It's an actual
shit.
business. It's not just like
Do you,
I don't
so
just
do you write your stuff off then? You keep your receipts?
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
I get to do that with my gas right now, which is sick, man. Every time I get gas, I'm like, fuck, $40, $50, and I'm like, oh wait, this will come back.
Yeah, I just did my taxes for the first time with it, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? But it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, you can. My mom, because my mom's got an LLC, and I'm like the co-owner of her like company thing, and I don't remember what she paid, but it wasn't that much. It was like $100 to go see like a professional financial advisor / like law money guy who like knows what he's talking about business wise. I don't know. I don't have the terms for it, but yeah, he like just outlined a whole thing. This is what you need to do. Get all legit. Keep your receipts, and come tax season, you've already paid for me to like do this for you. And it was like cheap. She was like surprised. She's like, "Is this like legit?" I'm like, "I don't know. Look him up. We have technology.
Yeah. We do have
We
technology.
have tech. Like, what's his name? And I Facebooked him. I'm like, yeah, no, this guy's like, that's all he's done for the past like 15 years is be a financial advisor. Like, you're chilling, man.
What if
You're
he gets
chilling,
fired? Do you think he's a DEI hire?
We got a guy we've been running GTA heists with, and it's like me, this guy named Grump, and my brother, like all white guys, and we needed a fourth. And so from like one of these game night groups that I belong to, I asked around. I'm like, any of you guys play GTA? And this guy, Dark Corazon, who's like Spanish, he like joins in, and we call him our DEI hire. Like, so like when we're doing heist cuts, like whoever set up the heist will take like 70%, and he'll give everyone like 20 or whatever, and then just give Corazon 15. It's like, that's so fucked. And they say it every time. They're like, and the DEI hire will give the minimum, because the minimum you can give somebody on a heist is 15%.
You really just give him like 3/5 of whatever the tool is.
That's insane. It's insane, dude.
That's so good, dude. What a funny way to split things.
No, it's crazy, man. I don't even understand what's happening to this country anymore.
Do you have like ADHD? Because like you've been like getting up and shit, and I have like ADHD a little bit.
It's more so to make sure I don't have a monitor, so I have to check and make sure it's still recording.
What do you guys use to record?
My iPhone.
Well, no, but like you're using a program, or you're just like.
So we use this for the video, and then this goes through Ableton, and then I put it all into Final Cut so I can sync the clips.
I asked, what are you using, like...
Oh, my
using,
recording
like,
program.
Yeah,
Just iPhone camera standard, just the camera app.
Okay. There's a few little things I can suggest to you after the pod, like Riverside, things like that you can like monitor with like using your laptop.
Really? I can record it on here and monitor it on my laptop?
There's also like there's like another app that I had like I downloaded on my iPad to where I could like remotely like start the camera from there, and you can like monitor too.
Dude,
we'll talk. Dude.
Yeah, that sounds good. I thought about just taping a mirror to the ring light so then I could just see the reflection of the camera in there, but
that's pretty ghetto, brother.
Dude, we're actually what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a new interface and probably 2 mic stands. Probably keep this one, and so we'll have the guest mic, and then we'll each be like mic'd up, so we don't have it's like clearer audio.
I think I might be giving up my podcasting journey, so I have some gear that you guys might be.
A big one we need is 2 mics and an interface.
I have 2 mics. I have 2 mics. I got mic stands. They're not like the ones that clip. They're like actual like mic stand tripods.
Well, if you're selling,
I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, if you're selling a 4-channel interface, man. We'll take.
Yeah, I got one of those like Scarlett 18i. I don't know what it is.
Nice. That's what I got, a Scarlett, but it's only 2.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with one of the headphone jacks, but other than that, it works like perfectly if you're not trying to like monitor over the headphones.
Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, hit us up because we really want to upgrade. Our first we used to in the old podcast, we didn't have any of these lights at all. This was back in 2020, and we just had a bookshelf, and we stacked a few like books on top of that bookshelf and used that as a camera stand. Yeah. And we used Reese's iPhone 10.
You guys are moving up. Yeah. You guys think about like lighting and stuff like that? Like besides like the ring light, it's like having a backlight, like turning this light off and like having lights like
actually
behind.
Need to turn this fan off too.
Oh fuck! That's what I always.
This is like the most unprofessional podcast I've been. I love it though. It's like,
man, this is grassroots shit.
Grassroots. Started from the bottom.
I love the way that people use grassroots. Like I don't even understand really where it comes from fully. But like,
it's gotta be some white people shit, or like some old like country people shit.
I went into a farm in Oregon once, and I'd been to a weed farm, and I'd been to a lot of them, and this was like shit. Like it smelled fucking horrible. There was puddles in the greenhouses. Like fucking plants were knocked over. Shit was dying. And the guy that was running it, he goes, yeah, it's kind of grassroots. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, this just looks like you fucking don't give a shit.
It's just an excuse.
This is like $1 million piece of fucking shit in front of me. Like,
that's a bit.
I'm like, what is like what does grassroots mean,
that's
dude? Like,
right there.
I'm like, there are like grass and roots all over this fucking greenhouse for sure, dude. I don't know where that comes from. Jamie,
hi, May.
We really need a Jamie.
Yeah, we needed Jamie to monitor our shit too. Justin was going to be our Jamie.
Just get an Alexa.
I need to start wearing my AI glasses every time.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's like adding superpower.
I'm in cybersecurity. That's what I'm going to school for.
Really?
There's a lot of interesting things happening in AI. So it's going to be pretty cool in the next few years.
My gym buddy, he's doing the same. He's trying to get, I guess there's a level of schooling you can get to where you have a doctorate in it. Yeah. And he's like, he's going to get a doctorate in cyber Skylar.
Here's the thing. If you do that, you'll never stop going to school because it's constantly evolving. Like month to month, let alone like year to year. It's going to take you like 4 years to get your bachelor's, another couple years to get your, master's and your doctorate. It's going to take forever. And then you got to keep learning. It's not even worth it at that point. You might as well just get a job and then work in that field for a while and then progress.
He's such a weird guy, too. I'm like, well, why do you want to do that? He's like, money. I'm like, you have no personal interest in it at all.
The amount of money that he's going to be in debt doing that shit is ridiculous.
I'm like, all right, bro, like, you do your thing, man. Have fun.
You got to take your friend aside and be like, hey, buddy. You're an idiot.
Well, he's like 2 years in, too. I'm like, you do whatever. He was selling RVs for a while, and he was like, I was like, what's your favorite part of your job one day? Because he seemed like he liked it a lot. And he was like, dude, I hate my job. I'm like, what? Like, RVs are pretty cool. He's like, dude, I hate RVs. I hate camping. I hate going outside. Like, I was like, what are you doing, man?
Everything
Like,
he ever
It's
looked
like a prostitute that hates sex.
like when I tell people I'm a landscaper / gardener, they're like, nah, that's, I'm like, but I love my job, man. Like I like plants a lot, so it's like it's good for me and the pay's good. Like I don't know, I don't understand people that like do something because of the money. Like you got to like some aspect of it. He's like, I hate the commute. I hate the people I work with. I hate.
Well, every picture for years was him happily there, like.
Yeah,
But
that was to
but I
promote
think-
his business. Like,
But I think you're kind of missing like that's a good chunk of the population that don't like what they do. You know, like not everybody gets to do what. It's not that they don't get to. People don't take advantage of the opportunities that we have in this country to do whatever you want to do.
how often do you hear like, how are you? Well, like living the dream, or like another day in paradise, and like they obviously mean the exact opposite. It's like, dude, God,
It's that Midwestern fucking bullshit. Dude.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, you
Just
get
tell me
into
how
those
it is.
interactions, and you're like, God, I feel bad for you. Why'd you make me feel bad for you?
But again, it's like nobody wants to talk to people. We're like realistically, we're so like like I don't know what the word is, like not personal anymore.
I feel super put on the spot when somebody asks me like, so what's new with you? I'm like, that's one of my least favorite questions. Or like, what have you been up to lately? I just like, for some reason, I feel so on the spot. Like,
That's how I feel when people say, "So how are the kids?" I'm like, "They're good."
They're alive.
Yeah. It's like I don't know what else to say. They're getting big.
so you have twins,
I do have twins.
and you have one younger than your twins, one older?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. I didn't even
Four.
know that.
And your
Nice.
And your twins are boys?
They're girls.
Girls.
Identical girls.
So you have, what's the gender? So top to bottom.
So
oldest to youngest?
boy, twin, girls, daughter.
Okay, 3 girls and a guy. Who's your
Sorry,
favorite?
guys.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite.
Subject to change, you can say it.
It changes on the daily. It's really just whoever's like being the smartest that day.
Yeah.
I think.
That's
I
fair. That's
have a
super
lot of
fair.
value in like whoever's either says like the most like funny, smart thing, or whoever is just like doing whatever they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like, it's like whoever's the smartest is the one that's going to provide you with, like, the least amount of headaches in the future,
I don't know if I agree with that because
Really?
I was a really smart kid like throughout school, but
What
I just started having kids and
Where it all went wrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
Julien
you
Leisure.
tame out all your brains.
yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, but yeah.
No, but I don't know. I just kind of was rebellious though, and I like being smart led me to like be able to lie better.
Yeah.
You know, like I was really good at like lying and figuring out ways to get around shit. Just because I wasn't like necessarily bad, but I was just doing whatever the fuck I wanted to do. You know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I was the kind of smart that, like, I would convince myself why I didn't need to do certain things that were, like, asked or, like, expected of me, I'm like, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of, I'd, like, think, like,
Yeah.
8 steps ahead. Like, why, I'd be failing a class, and my mom would get on me. And I'd, like, explain to her why it doesn't matter. And she'd be like, God, you're so right, but, like, you need to. But it does, like, fuck,
I don't know. It's like, for me, it's different now that I have kids, and I'm like, oh shit, like some of the things are important, and it's like
Yeah.
they're not important ultimately, but it is important for certain things you might want to achieve.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think that school is a lot of bullshit that you don't need to learn. I think that there's a lot of things that they could be teaching us that we could actually like use practically, like how to file your own taxes
Yeah.
and stuff like how to change a tire.
Honestly,
Like,
the
I-
best part about school was, like, wake up when the sun gets up, go to bed when the sun goes down. Like that, like
routine?
actual routine. Other than that, like, the biggest benefit from school is, like, instilling that routine so it transfers over to your work life so you're a good worker for the government,
But then it's like people work different shifts, and it doesn't even matter, So people work
100%.
part-time jobs. And
Well, and, like, if you know what you want to do early on, there was a lot of, like, you had to do, like, geometry and trig and, like, all these things. And I'm like, dude, like, at the time in high school, like, I wanted to be an opera singer. Like, I don't need to know trigonometry right now,
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. It was a wild, like, thing I wanted to do, but, like, I don't know. I feel like if things were catered like they are in college, if there was more, like, even in private schools, people are like, private schools, like I'm gonna get my kids in a private school. It's like it's really the same thing. Most of the private school kids I talk to, they're like, yeah, it's the same shit. You just
Usually more strict, so it's like
yeah,
even
it's
worse
just
a bit.
you're wearing a uniform. It's a little more strict, and like a lot of private schools are like religiously kind of intertwined. So there's pray time and stuff like that, which I think is kind of odd. But
They should just have nap time. Like you could pray if you want, but you could also just like take a sleep.
yeah,
You're paying so much money.
homework is wild. Like
I
I'm
think-
in your class right now. Let's do this. Like, let's do the work.
Some schools started to get rid of homework. They were just kind of like, let's just
Expecting your students to go home and 13 hours a day is school in the week, and then on the weekends you're like, yeah, I'll come out, but I gotta like finish this essay or whatever. It's
But
like,
at the same time, it's like that rigorous study is like beneficial for certain people in certain careers.
it is.
Because certain people have to study. Like we need doctors and people to actually study. But college is mostly just a scam because most of the people that get a degree never use their degree.
Yeah.
So you just wasted a bunch of money for no reason. You're just getting scammed.
And everybody learns like a little bit differently. There was a lot of times where like somebody in my class would be like, fucking, like I hate this teacher. And I'm like, that's crazy because like he's one of my favorite teachers,
Yeah.
And they're like, he's just so dry and this and that. I'm like, well, I like there's things that like I latch on to and respect and certain other people don't, like the funny teachers were usually the teachers I'm like, this is a fucking waste of my time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's an easy credit, but like, what's this doing for me,
Goofing around. It's
Yeah.
Like, all right, dude.
Yeah, I'm like, we get an assignment every now and again because they're cool, they don't really believe in that stuff. But like, sometimes I want like a challenge, like especially in my writing classes. Like English, I loved when I had like a hard ass for an English teacher.
I don't know. I think that this is like a controversial opinion. I wish that we had the economic stability for us to have like mothers in the home raising children and homeschooling.
Yeah.
I think that homeschooling is definitely like weird. Like my siblings were homeschooled and they're weirdos, but I think that homeschooling has a lot of like benefits.
Yeah.
And I think that, first of all, kids learn better from their parents to begin with, and if they have a parent that's dedicated to their learning and can cater to the way that they need to learn,
Yeah.
how successful do you think?
I think homeschooling to like a certain age, like if you have the ability in your schedule to have more time with your kids when they're young, that's going to be the most beneficial time that you're around with them. And then like when it comes like my parents, if they wanted to homeschool, if they were getting like if they didn't have to worry about money and I was homeschooled, I hope like in that situation that when 9th grade, when high school comes around, like then I go to high school.
Yeah, that's what happened with my brother. Like he was homeschooled, he's never been to school, but then it's like you get to high school and it's like you have no friends and like you have no, like hopefully there's like the capability of you to like interact with other kids.
Yeah.
The
The
Before
social
that-
aspect
before
is
that
a
point,
huge
you need
thing.
so-
That's why you need like
socialization.
sports or something like that, or,
Yeah.
or a club.
Mhm.
But I really think it's important that we have a little bit better like control over what like kids are taught and
Yeah.
the way that they're taught. It's not every kid can learn in a 25 kid classroom
Yeah.
when you don't have any type of like individual in attention or anything like that.
Well, and like a lot of the people because I was like in ISS a lot, and like I was in the
You're one of
bad
those
kid
kids,
classes
yeah.
for a while. Like when high school came around, I kind of like wrapped things up, and I started to do good academically for like the first time ever. And my parents were like, "What the fuck?" They like for once didn't have to worry about me, They're like A, B, A, like fucking you're good, dude. Like get the fuck out of here, go do what you want. But like a lot of the times I was in those classes, I was surprised to see who was in those classes. I'm like, that dude's smart. That girl's smart. Like, what's going on? But it's like, yeah, like some people just lose interest if they don't feel like personally catered to, or some people just, I don't know. It's just, I feel like when you're in a public school, like our graduating class is what, like 1,000 or more?
Ours was 618.
Oh, geez, I
Damn,
overshot
way
that.
off.
Yeah, I overshot that. But that's a lot of.
It seemed huge though.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
a
we
lot
had
of kids.
2,400 in the school.
And a teacher's just a fucking person, man. Like you're teaching. I mean, a lot of like my English teacher taught the exact same for at least 9th and 10th grade for first through third period. He taught the exact same thing for those 3 periods for 3 different classes. And it's like, dude,
It's
at
gotta
some
be
point,
exhausting.
yeah, at some point you're gonna get fucking
Jeez.
burnt out doing that every week, 3 fucking times in a row. Like,
You need diversity. Like
there was one time, like, we read Beowulf, and then we watched, like, the weird animated version that they made. And then we finished it, and he goes, because they were behind on the book in one of the classes, so they started the movie at a different time, and he goes, did we finish Beowulf? Was that you guys? And he was a little older. Man, one of the guys in our class was like, we haven't even started it yet. You know, and we had finished it the day prior, and he goes, "Oh, geez!" And so for 2 or 3 more like full days of class, we rewatched Beowulf.
What a no snitches either.
No one, and dude, there were some people
that's what
that
you
I
do
was
to
like, "Oh,
subs.
this is good." Yeah,
that's like a sub.
Dude, at one
like,
point, he went to his son's house to like fix a flooring issue or some shit to help his son with his floor, and he fell through the floor and like broke his ankle. He was a bigger guy. He like broke his ankle and shit, so he was out for a few days, and then when he came back, he was asking us about like what the sub went over with us, and the same like 3 fucking douchebag dudes in my fucking class were like, no, the sub didn't like go over that or like whatever. Like he put us back, like these dudes put us back like 2 weeks in the semester.
That's crazy.
Like, dude, like this dude's getting fucking fired now because of these fucking shitheads, dude.
That's so funny, dude.
And it's like stuff like that, and like snow days, and just like, you know, sick, like lots of things. There's a lot of education missed for sure. And it's like, yeah, you can make it up, but you're not retaining that information. You're just like, oh shit, I gotta get caught up.
Yeah, it's not even just like that a mom should be home. It's just that like, if you have kids, there should be, for one, there should be a bigger postpartum leave. Like, if you had a kid, you shouldn't have to go to work for at least 2 months. Like,
I think even longer than that. I think that some European countries, it's like, I don't know the specific numbers, but it's like a long time.
It
where
is.
they
and
get,
dads
like,
get the same benefits.
Yeah,
too.
and they do.
in
And
some places it's like a year, you know, or more. And I mean, that makes sense, man. My sister had one of her kids during COVID, and so she was really like, she was very standoffish. The first time I ever went to hold her, she was like 1 or maybe like a little over 1, and dude, she freaked out. The first like, I would say until she was 3, she fucking hated me. Like, freaked the fuck. I'd never had a kid react that way to me. I never wanted to go over there to scare her kid, you know? And I was so gentle and like so like, and all of both of her other kids like fucking loved me, but she had a kid that for a year and a half of her life she didn't want to take out because she's got this little baby and fucking people are dying and all this shit, and it really changes. The first couple years are important. Like, I mean, really every year is important, but those developmental years, man, like, you gotta have your parents around you.
Yeah, I had my son in 2020, like June 2020, right in the middle of COVID and everything like that. So it was like a really good time for like us to like both like be there, especially when they were younger. Yeah. And like through each kid, like, you know, I've been there. Like, I'm not just like one of those dads that's like, hey, like, what's up? I'm like changing diapers. I'm doing all this stuff. Like,
hell yeah.
I like when they're sick. I'm you know, the fucking I'm like medicine, whatever. You know, I'm ready. I'm a good dad. You know,
dude, it's
not
so
to like brag,
man.
but I think it's important that dads are also active. You know, I agree with your point that it not should just be a mom, but you know, traditionally, a lot of times it's like, moms are better at certain things, and you know,
let's be honest, man might want to work. That woman carried that child. Like, you love that kid, but like, I don't think really ever a father can like truly have the same connection as the mother does ever. No. There's way more empathy between the mother and the children than there is the father. You know, because like, dude, the father's job is pretty easy in those like 9 months, you know.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I came and now I'm making sure she's good. Like,
you're sick. You need vitamins.
Yeah.
Don't eat that sushi.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and then afterwards, it's you know, it's still hard on her. The dads, it's kind of like there's not like, for me at least, it wasn't like an instant like, holy shit. It was just kind of like, this is a baby, and I love this baby, but like it took a while for me, honestly. Like, for me, when it really, really kicked in was, like, after I had the twins, and one night, like, all the kids were in bed, and, like, I just did some mushrooms. And I was, like, looking at pictures on my phone of them, and I was like, holy shit.
Dude, you made
this
those.
Is different. Like, I made these things, and these are, like, going to be women and a young man in the world one day. Yeah. And I've got to set an example, and I've got to not be a piece of shit, you know, and I've got to, you know, give them something to be proud of, you know, essentially. And
what a trip to have, dude.
It was intense. I'll say that. I was like, it was the first time I ever went outside on mushrooms.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 24, be 25, and
What?
Yeah,
I
knew
thought
that.
you were like 28 to 30.
No, sir. I am.
No,
I'll be
I thought you
25
were
in May.
24.
Dang.
I thought I remembered that correctly.
I had no idea. That's awesome.
That's how I tell you you don't listen to my stand up because it's literally I go like I'm 24 and I got 4 kids.
I thought you were joking. I thought you were joking every time, dude. I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. 24, 4 kids. But no, that's crazy.
It's real.
That's awesome.
That'd
dude.
be a funny joke though. I mean, I guess if I was actually like 30. And
Yeah,
I
I
was
thought,
like,
dude, I thought you were like 29 or 30, dude. You've got very like mature, and not necessarily like conservative, but like you're
I
not
mean,
necessarily
you might as
conservative.
well just say
Not
it.
necessarily. It's because it's not that, but it's like you've got very strong like values and like family values, and you have 4 kids, and you're married. Like you.
I'm not married yet. We're
you're not married?
We're engaged. We're gonna be married.
You
probably
really
next
don't
year.
listen to his stand-up.
I'm trying to interview him, man. This is where I really get to know people. I have no idea what he's joking about or not.
Because Addie one time was like, "Yeah, how's the engagement going? You guys like still engaged?" And he made a joke on how it's been like 6 years when it hasn't been 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was way off, dude. But that's awesome, man. You got your shit together.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my, like, I will say, a lot of my stand-up is based on accurate things. Like, some of it's just jokes, but a lot of it's just based on accurate, real things.
You guys like waiting until like there's less like baby stuff and stuff going on in your lives, or what's the?
So we just kind of, we were planning on doing it like this year, but just like financially, I think that like I graduate with my associates in May, and so then like I'm probably gonna go back to school for my bachelor's. I might take a year and a half, so
Yeah.
probably be better like financially to do it
And that's
like
a
November 2026. I
Like
think.
you already know like that's your wife. She already knows that's my husband. But like you're
Yeah.
gonna have one wedding. Might as well like save it up. Like know exactly when
I
you.
mean,
want
her
it, make it
dad
bomb.
is like fortunately gonna like help take care of a lot of it,
Hell
so
yeah.
that'll be
Nice.
nice. But you know, I mean,
That's
just-
huge, dude. A dad helping with his daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
Like you guys probably have a pretty good relationship. Then.
yeah, I love her dad.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I mean, we've had a kind of rocky relationship
Mm-hmm.
because like I think that like when we first started dating, within like a month, I got caught having sex with her.
Oh shit.
his in
Okay.
his
So
house.
they're
And this
his
dude is like
house.
a white like Republican dude that teaches like gun classes, and it
Yeah,
was
okay.
a situation.
Okay.
And I got out of there, but it's been that was in what 2019. It's been 6 years since
Yeah.
that happened, and
I
we're
gotta-
good now. I go over his house all the time, and we shoot the shit, and we're good.
My buddy, he answered the phone at the gym, my gym bud, and he's like talking to some girl I can barely hear on the phone. I'm pretty sure it's his mom, and he goes, "All right, well, I love you, Mom. Like, I'll talk to you later," and hangs up. I'm like, "That's your mom?" He goes, "No, it's Morgan's mom," and Morgan's his wife. And I was like, "Dude, that's so gay." Like, that's so cute. Like, that's so cool. And I asked, I'm like, you guys have a pretty good relationship then? He's like, "Dude, I love her. She's one of my favorite people ever."
I don't
I'm like,
know.
that's fucking
Awesome.
that's cool.
I don't
man.
think I don't have that relationship with like her mom. Her mom lives with us. And
Her dad, you're like, "All right, I love you, Dad."
Yeah. love you.
I mean, I don't think I would even say that. I just call him David.
Yeah.
But we are like close. Like
Get in the habit of it, man. Like, slip it in there.
Yeah.
Because my mom, after years, finally, like, I remember being like 10 years old, and my mom would always refer to my grandparents as grandma, grandpa. And then she finally started referring to them the same way my dad does and calls them mom and dad,
Yeah.
When at family stuff, she's like, "Hi, Mom, hi, Dad," and it's like, it'll get there naturally,
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like people. I feel like we've been like trained to hate in-laws.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like a lot of movies in the early to 2000s, 2010s are about hating in-laws. Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
I was about to say
that
Meet the
that whole
Fockers, dude.
series is about
Yeah.
hating in-laws. So I feel like there's a lot of like not even values, but kind of like I guess values a little bit taken out of like the aspect of family.
Yeah.
Like family doesn't exist the same way it probably used to, like, I don't know, 30, 40,
When you just
50
don't,
years
like,
ago.
That's
get
true.
it, because you don't have kids, like you do now.
Yeah.
But when you don't, you're like, God, like, wow, like their parents are just so up in our business and stuff, and you're like, well, that's their baby, and one of these days they're gonna have grandchildren from us, and like, it makes sense that they feel like they have like all this say in our lives and like always make these kinds of comments. Like, everybody worries, and then they mask
Yeah.
it with like fucking I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird shit.
That's the thing that I think about often. It's like I have a high probability of being a grandpa one day.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not even like that. Like obviously it's pretty far off. Like 20 years is like
a grandpa with a nose ring is crazy. You know, like I think about that with like you know.
I'm gonna be bald.
Yeah.
I'm like balding, so I'm gonna be bald. I'm gonna look like a pirate.
The
It's gonna be
Finasteride,
awesome,
bro.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
have some, but it's expired, so I gotta check and see if I can still take it.
Apparently, you can get it off Amazon now.
Yeah, you can.
My,
Yeah,
You
there's
can get it at Target. You can get it. Yeah.
My roommate came up to me a few months back and was like, "Dude, I'm losing my hair," and I was like, "Are you just figuring that out now? Like, you know, like why are you?" He's like, "Yeah, I just like really got like a good look at it. It's like receding here and stuff." I'm like, "Dude, get on Finasteride. Like it actually works. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Keeps works."
I've been doing that shit for 5 years now, and
Yeah.
it fully brought back my hair.
I used to cut his hair, and we used to dye it, and I would make sure that like when we dyed it, that I'd dye the scalp, so for at least a
Yeah.
week, it would like you got that backdrop, so it looks fuller than it is, and like there was a couple little like tricks I'd do, and like it's come back so much
Yeah,
thicker.
it was
than it used
scary.
to.
That was
dude.
my problem. So my problem with my hair is I think I used to have like dreadlocks, and I used to like dye it like blue and red when I first started comedy and stuff like that.
Oh,
And
shit.
so then like it just like killed it, and so then I cut it off, started fresh, and it was alright
it's
for a while,
also-
and then
It's also a genetic thing though too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had my hair like every color. I used to straighten it every day and shit. Like my dad's bald. My brother, who's younger than me, is like
He's
getting
losing it.
there.
He's thinning
you
out.
know, his dad was bald. My dad's brother's bald. My dad's brother's kids are all bald now. Like I'm the only person. I'm the only man on the Thurber side of the family that has hair. Actually, even my mother's like maiden name side of the family, all those kids, like all the guys, bald. Like it's fucking crazy. But my mom's dad never lost his hair, and that's apparently where you get most of the dominant hair genes is from your mother's side
Fuck.
of
I
the
wa-
male.
But I wonder if
part.
it's like something else. Like I wonder if it's not just genetics, and maybe it's like something in the water.
Well,
or
there's
something,
there's
you know?
that
Like,
there's that and product. Like
yeah.
for real. Like one time when I went to like a fancy salon for the first time, like didn't walk into a Great Clips. The girl's like, "Yeah, you got good hair and stuff. Like, what do you use?" And I let her know that, like, I don't remember what I was using at the time. It was like Pantene or
Head and shoulders.
yeah, L'Oreal Head and
I
Shoulders.
love the 3-in-1 shit.
And I told her like there's a couple different things I alternate every once in a while, and when I run out of something, I'll just go buy whatever, you know, as long as it's not like 10-in-1 shit, you know.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my god, like fucking stop! Like these are the things you need to look out for. Like, there's certain things that they'll like chemically zap your scalp, and
Oh,
your
yeah.
scalp's like, ow, dude, I'm not gonna fucking push out any new fibers from here, dude. Like I'm
Yeah.
scared, you know."
Kill the chia pet, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Feeding your ficus vinegar, dude.
Dude. Yeah, I just realized the reason I said fuck is because my dead, but grandpa on my mom's side, I don't know, he's dead.
My dead.
He totally bald. Super funny though, but he died on the toilet. I think when he was like 50 something. He had a heart attack on the toilet like Elvis.
I was gonna say is your grandpa Elvis.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No, he was super cool, Grandpa Petey. He had a one really funny thing that I always did, and he would just like stick his finger out and then poke it directly into my belly button and go like do 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 do, and he'd be like naval maneuvers. And I don't know why, but I always thought it just killed me as a kid, dude. I was like, Grandpa Petey.
You should get a
That's
therapist,
about like
man.
5 inches from something a crime.
You should talk to somebody about that.
It was really funny.
He'd bend me over and he'd be like, doo doo doo.
Let me see in there what's
And
my
I don't know, I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, I just laughed all the time.
It hurt a little bit, but
Giggle, you know.
just
Giggle
giggle.
the pain away.
Oh.
Nothing, a
That's
couple
that's
giggles.
your
will
that's
make
the name of your first special. Giggle the pain away.
Giggle the pain away. That's not a bad title,
That's
to be
not
honest.
a bad title,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
actually.
like pretty fucking funny.
You
Actually.
should wear that fucking shirt, dude.
Beauty is pain.
Oh, and the MAGA hat, dark MAGA with it too.
Oh man, I think that I've been surprised by the lack of negative like reception. to me
Everybody's
wearing it.
loved it, dude. And I think that's like you had an arc when you first started wearing that, where you just like got more like just saying what you'd like and just being like a little bit more like fuck it, and it was so funny, dude. Like dark MAGA Julian.
What made you decide to like get into comedy? Was there like a day where you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna try this out? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was like listening to like podcasts like Joey Diaz, The Church of What's Happening Now.
Nice.
And I just would like hear comedians tell stories of like all the like the gritty parts of comedy. And I'm like, I'm kind of an oddball. I think I could, I could get down with this, like the free drugs all the time, weed, you know. And then I was like, I've always been kind of funny, not like a class clown, but like I was like in all like AP classes, so it was a bunch of nerds.
Same.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was like kind of like the cool nerd, so I was kind of the funny guy. And I was like, yeah, I could try it. And I've always just been kind of crazy.
What was your first spot? Like, did you look?
Backline.
Okay, so you looked up like open mics in Omaha or something?
Yeah, I just looked up comedy open mics. I found Backline on a Wednesday. I went there, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch and see. And then I was like, nah, I gotta do this. And so I just did it, and I was like, oh, I'm obsessed with this. And so I just, started going.
Was it a good first show?
It was pretty good actually. It was like, not everything hit, but a lot of like surprisingly hit.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's kind of weird. Comedy is like weird like that. Because I work with my mom, right? And when I first got into it, it was the end of summer, so it was like the end of our work like season, and I was like pitching to her like some of the jokes, and she'd be like, it'd go over her head or something, and she just like wouldn't laugh, and I'm like, oh man, maybe I won't do that. And I've done it in a room before, and been like, oh, my mom was right, like that didn't hit. And done the same thing, maybe a couple different like words, because I think that there's something there still. In a different room, it like does really well, but it never does well. If I think I have something good, it never gets a good reception if you're just telling somebody the joke, unless you're like workshopping it or
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. Yeah.
I think that one thing that we forget about is that comedy is like a lot of writing, but it's also performance.
It is.
So like that's why like when I try to like tell my fiance a joke, it's like weird because I'm like trying to like talk it out, and it's like I feel like you don't want to hear this, like I don't know if that's like a feeling you get, but it's like I feel like why are you listening to this? Like, it's not in the context of what it's supposed to be in, I think. So it's a little harder to like try to do it that way.
Yeah,
it is. Because you got to perform, like you're like a character, kind of like maybe it's like a punched up version of yourself. Maybe it's a different version of something that you have in your mind.
Sundays and Wednesdays are my game nights, and I stopped going to my Sunday game nights so I could go to Sunday quick draws. And when I let the game group know, because I'm like kind of like a leadership role, like I won't be here for like half our game nights, and luckily they kept me, like the guy that's higher above me was like, no, we'll keep you as like second squad leader. And so I'm still in that position, but they'll ask me like, oh yeah, like what's some of your new stuff, or like what, like what kind of like, oh, you're a comedian, then like tell me a joke. I'm like, oh dude, it just like doesn't work that way.
It's the worst being put on the spot, like when people ask that, and I'm just like, come pay to see a show.
Yeah.
And then you'll see jokes if you pay for it.
See me in my habitat.
It's like you kind of got to like know your worth a little bit. I know, not to sound like pretentious. I know that sounds like shitty and pretentious, but it's like if you want to see jokes, come pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like see jokes where it should be said so I can make you laugh, not just on the street corner like smoking a cigarette. Tell me a joke. It's like,
and it's like I'll make you laugh like naturally, anyways. Like if we're hanging out, like I'll make you laugh.
Yeah, spend 5 minutes with me.
For me to tell you a fucking joke, I'm not gonna do that.
Something I wrote down, and it feels disingenuous too, because like whenever I pitch it to somebody, I'm like, well, yeah, so it kind of goes, it's like something like this, and you
kind of over-explain it a little bit.
You have to like almost explain it because you're not gonna put the action and the emphasis behind it because it's a bit, it's an act. Like while like most jokes and most good comedians that I like, you can tell that their content is rooted in reality or is like just straight up a true story and how they like kind of like view it or whatever. But it's never one of those things like what's funny in a small group of like friends or like acquaintances isn't the same kind of funny as like people who left their house to go laugh and like be in a like darker room with strangers and see somebody in front of them perform, You
gotta kind of like make people like think, or like not even, I don't even know if it's hard to talk about comedy without sounding pretentious, Yeah. It's like I've been doing it for like 3 years now, which is it's like baby time. I'll be 4 years in September.
Dude, we're 6 months now,
and you learn so much just doing it, and it's like talking about it is like kind of like I can't tell you everything you need to know because
Yeah.
you're just gonna figure it out and you're gonna become better and you're gonna learn what works for you, or you're gonna quit.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. People quit because it's hard, and it's not often rewarding.
Yeah, there's a girl that goes to Monday's Sage, if you remember her.
Yeah.
We like sit with her, and it's like the third or fourth time that she came, and like it was her second set, and she came up to me and was like, "Hey, can I like ask you like a question about a joke I'm writing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And I guess I guess I acted a little weird, and she was like, I'm sorry, I just like, I feel like you're a pretty good comic, and I want to hear like your insight." And before she let me know the joke, I like wanted to let her know like, this might be like a bad thing to do for your writing style, because a lot of times
100%.
that I'll be on like a certain path with a joke, I get advice like, ooh, maybe you should do this or that, and it's like, it's not very like me, and so it's hard to like roll it into the same like vein of understanding that I see it in, I don't know.
I think you can only like really like you shouldn't take advice from people from about most things, but you can only really take advice about a joke from somebody who knows your voice.
Yeah.
Like I hate when like a person that I don't know, not that I hate it, but it's like a person that I don't know will come up to me like and be like, "Hey, I really like this joke. It'd be really funny if you said something really awful and not funny."
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do with that? It's like, this is my art form, and I feel like you're supposed to express yourself in a certain type of way, and it is an art form,
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and I mean, I've gotten a lot of like really good advices from like other comedians. It's always like, I mean, there's been like maybe one time where like another comedian's been like, "Hey man, you should do this," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, thanks so much." Like, what? But other than that, it's like, "Yeah, dude, no, you're totally right. Like, fucking thank you," And it's like, yeah, like we're at or approaching our 6-month mark with it.
I think as of a few days ago, 6 months.
Okay.
Hell yeah, brothers.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it kind of flew.
Seriously.
It does, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're just hanging out. The people that you meet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we just lost a friend, but it's just you build that close community so fast that you see these people every night of the week, and it's kind of like, hey, I see the stuff you're working on, and I like that.
Yeah.
We're
Dude,
all there for the same
great.
purpose.
We're having Addie's birthday celebration at my house tomorrow. Like, Morgan came up to me on Tuesday and was like, "Hey, is it cool if like, I don't mean to like overstep, but is it okay if like we kind of like do it at your house?" I'm like, "Dude, absolutely." Like,
That's awesome.
I know that a lot of us live in apartments. Like, I got a fucking 2-floor house. Like, let's fucking do it, And fucking, I don't know. I just like, sometimes I think back to how like 6 months ago I walked into a room and like everyone in that room was a god to me.
Yeah.
Like Casey, like the first night we went up, it was, I think
Shank.
you were there.
Yeah, I think so.
Shank, actually, when I saw him, I was like, fuck, this dude's going to be really fucking funny. Like, oh no.
He looks funny.
He has so much potential, and he's really getting into it lately.
Yeah, he is.
He's
on his revenge arc. He's slowly just gotten more like angry and just like says whatever.
I told him one time, I gave him some advice. I was like, listen, you got to explore different like aspects of who you are on stage. It's like yes, it is like an art form of like language arts and trying to be witty and stuff like that. But it's also just like different versions of what you are. You can like accentuate like an aspect of yourself that you might like not bring out around everybody else, but you might bring it out around your girlfriend or whatever, and you just can lean into that on stage. You can lean into different aspects of your character. I think it's harder for like white guys to break into the industry at the moment, just because there's so many of you guys.
Yeah.
But if you do something different that sets you like out from everybody else.
Yeah, that's why I like Taylor
like,
Zotke so much.
I
Man.
love
I
Taylor.
love that
I'm
dude.
like, I'm like, no one's doing what you're doing, and I fuck with the fact that like you are in almost every aspect like an original comic.
Yeah.
And
The only thing I don't
personality.
understand is the fucking songs.
Yeah. He starts with, he's like, all right, you know the drill, like,
Yeah.
I don't
Sing it if you know
understand
it.
that.
Yeah,
but
song
I
or
don't.
poem.
I'm not sure what he's trying to get at with that. Sometimes it hits depending on the lyrics of the songs, but sometimes I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But he owns it.
He does.
He does.
And
That's the key.
I love it. I love that he sticks to his guns. That's awesome.
The first set I ever saw from him, I was like, fuck, I have so much work to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this dude's so good. Like, what? That was awful. that was terrible, and I loved it. You know, like every second of it.
It's certain people have this like beautiful like misery, like just awful, but it's like beautiful.
There's that guy. I keep forgetting his name.
What's he look like?
He's the dude that's always wearing the fucking pajama pants.
Oh, Jaden.
Jaden.
Oh,
dude, I really think that guy has potential.
He
but it
does.
like there was a quick draw night. Were you there that night? Everyone was fucking pissed.
Clem was mad.
Yeah,
Clem was out of.
You at one
Dude,
point
people-
didn't you boo him?
Maybe. I remember at Doublener one time, his buddy.
you were like, tell some jokes.
Yes, because he was just up there like doing like shitty crowd work. You know?
Oh yeah, he did.
Which
He's
is
like,
like
yeah, I want to
fine,
do crowd work now.
but like just like announcing I'm doing a do. It's like weird, and it wasn't working, and I was just like trying to save him. So I was like, buddy,
There
do some
was
jokes.
one time that he was like, he goes, I'm gonna do some crowd work now. What's your name?
That was Dubliner.
And then the guy said his name. He's like, cool. And then just kept going with his set. And I thought that was really funny. I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
I remember
that was
It's
fantastic
only
crowd
funny
work.
if it's like parody.
Yeah,
Like if he's being satirical.
And that's the thing
then-
is like when he showed up to the quick draw on that Tuesday, I feel like nobody either maybe I misjudged him. Like I thought he was kind of in control of his like weirdness. Maybe I misjudged him, or like most people in the room that hadn't seen him before like didn't understand like what he was doing. You know?
I think that he's just really young. You
Yeah.
know, like it's really hard. Like when you see like a young comic try to like start doing it, because it's like they don't know what to do. It's always just like
Dude,
straight to like either they do something weird or they're straight to like dark, edgy stuff. Like
There's
Cole
a
yells a
Cole.
lot.
I don't like his
Him,
stuff
yeah.
at all.
He yells a lot. And
When he
when
was
he
like-
side-ducked, that was the first time we went to the Dubliner, and he was...
the first
He
time I
does
seen
the
that
thing where he's
guy.
like, "Oh yeah, here's this," and like, "Here's that on the ground," and then he fucking, he's like, "Oh, that's a car coming, whatever," and then he kicks, and he's like, "Oh my god, that was my roommate or whatever," and he's like, "Fuck," and then he runs off
Yeah.
stage. I'm like, that was one of the most unfunny things I've
Yeah,
ever.
he's
experienced.
bidding too hard, but
Yeah.
not in like a way that other people can
I
understand.
just wonder if it's like what like generation of humor did they get that from? Is it like Adult Swim, like like Loiter Squad? Like what did they watch?
Well, yeah, like dude, they're
like
That's
what?
a good
Like
question.
what
they're
is?
19
what is it-
right now, so it's like probably none of that shit.
You don't, think, you don't think they could have watched Loiter? No, I guess that's a little bit before their
I
time.
wonder what's on Adult Swim now.
Nothing.
I don't have cable.
Like
I haven't had cable since I lived at my parents' house.
Yeah, same.
It's
10
got all the
years ago.
fucking streamers. That's all I got.
Yeah,
cable's obsolete.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Yeah,
But what? I don't know what they're watching. Like, what is their example? It's like all
Probably just,
gotta
like,
be social media stuff, right?
ridiculousness.
Probably, yeah.
Or
yeah.
TikTok unfunny people that they think are really quirky and funny.
Tosh.0 doesn't exist anymore.
No,
does it?
that
I wish
hasn't
it
existed
did.
for a long
I liked
time.
Tosh.0.
Yeah,
I did well. Yeah, I mean, it was the
that was a
first,
precursor to like ridiculousness.
Yeah.
I think,
it was like to a lot of
and it
stuff.
was actually
really.
funny. Like
It
there
was funny.
jokes.
Reels now, people will like duet a reel, and that's exactly what Tosh.0 or Daniel Tosh did in real
Yeah.
time. He's like, "Yeah, look at this video now. I'm gonna comment on it."
Yeah, and
you
also
know?
I'm gonna bring the guy out and we're gonna talk to him. Like that shit was cool.
Yeah.
Classic.
Times have
But
changed.
we don't have stuff like that anymore.
No.
I feel like it's like comedy isn't such a like a big boom, but nobody's utilizing it for what it should be. Like we could be making like really great comedy movies, but nobody's doing it.
No.
Like I don't remember the last like good comedy movie I saw. Honestly, I liked Old Dads with Bill Burr. Like I thought it was okay.
I haven't seen that.
It's on Netflix. It's okay. It's not like the greatest.
Dumb and Dumber 2, really good. I never saw the first one, but it's Jim Carrey and I forget his name.
Okay, but when did that come out?
I think 2020.
It was recently, but Dumb and Dumber, the first Dumb and Dumber is one of those things where it's like, it's timeless. Like, imagine if they made like Happy Gilmore 2. And like, if you've never seen Happy Gilmore 1, you'd be like, oh, this is a good concept. This might be funny. But then if you saw Happy Gilmore 1 for, like, I like Dumb and Dumber 2, but it wasn't the same feel, you know?
Yeah, I never saw the first
People
one.
just need to make new shit, you know? Like, why are we trying to remix old stuff all the time? Like,
Yeah.
where are the creative people at?
I think he is making a Billy Madison 2 or a Happy Gilmore 2. I saw that.
I hate the idea of that, though.
I do too.
Me too. It's he can't be that happy.
Well, dude,
That long. Also, speaking of happiness, I think we should cut over to the page. We're at 50 minutes.
All right.
Hell yeah.
It's page time.
Page time. Join us. Shout out to Julien. Link below to the Leisure Cafe. Awesome dude. Awesome comedian. And check out the page. $1 a month, and you get to see all of us do this for another hour. Check it out. Shout out Beer. Shout out THC Dispensary.
Oh, fuck.
Shout out Quick Draw Comedy.
Yep.
Shout out Dubliner Pub on Mondays. Everybody's awesome. Comedy rocks. See you later, gang.
These guys are funny.
Dude, we